Japanese Copperbelt province brings to you The Lens, a program designed to bring insightful information on economics, mining, education, health, tourism, agriculture, environmental issues, sports, entertainment, current affairs, and many issues affecting the well-being of society.
Welcome to The Lens. I'm your host, Penelope Chansa. On today's program, we are analyzing President Hakainde Hichilema's visits to the Copperbelt province. Now, President Hichilema was on the Copperbelt province for a 2-day working visit from August 21st to August 23rd, 2024. During his visit, the president relaunched the Konkola copper mine in Chililabombwe town and also commissioned Chililabombwe District Hospital, Chamboli Level 1 Hospital, as well as Chimwemwe Hospital. To help me analyze the president's visits to the Copperbelt province, I have with me in the studio Zambia News and Information Services ZANIS Copperbelt Senior Information Officer Tovini Ngombe. Mr. Ngombe, welcome to The Lens.
Thank you, Penelope, and welcome viewers.
Thank you very much. Alongside Mr. Ngombe, I also have Kitwe District Information Officer Lizzie Ngobeka. Lizzie, welcome to The Lens.
Thank you, Penelope.
The commissioning of Chamboli Level 1 Hospital in Kitwe Susakiri constituency on the Copperbelt province will help in the decentralization of health services for these people who have been traveling long distances to access healthcare services. The hospital, which is equipped with the state-of-the-art equipment, will help in catering for people's health needs. President Hakainde Hichilema commissioned the Chamboli Level 1 Hospital, which has been constructed by a grant from the Japanese people.
But I want to simply indicate the commitment this government has, this UPND New Dawn government has, the party itself from the days we were in opposition. Through our manifesto, we talked about delivering health services, effective health services closer to the population. Level 1 is a clear manifestation of our government's decentralization policy with regard to serving our people much better, more effectively. Please, the people of Zambia, you must follow the stories of these governments and leaderships. We have a story to tell. This is part of the story. That's why we work day and night. We don't believe in party after party in the UPND government. We believe in work, more work after work. That is how we are going to deliver this country.
Japanese ambassador to Zambia is happy that the commissioning of the hospital will continue to strengthen the warm relationship with Zambia.
Ladies and gentlemen, Japan has provided a grant assistance of approximately $32 million through the construction of Chamboli Level 1 Hospital as well as Mushidi Level 1 Hospital under construction in Indora District as a gift from the people of Japan to the people of Zambia. This has been done by constructing the service building including outpatient department, medical wards, laboratory, and the radiology department, among others, and provision of high-tech medical equipment.
Minister of Health, Elijah Muchima, notes that the President's directives to employ volunteer health workers will be implemented.
You are a healer in your own way. Your Excellency, when we formed government, people thought you were a joker. You didn't mean it. Today, here you are. In 3 years, see what you are doing. You are touching the hearts of the people everywhere. Every province is supposed by design to have about 20 hospitals from level 1 to 3. And what you have done is you have brought in an equalizer You want to balance the country. You want to bring country as a single unity.
Copperbelt Minister Elisha Matambo assured the Usakiri residents that government has continued to deliver on health services.
Bapita by'omweshuumo baliisula ekipatala ekisumasaana state of the art kundola kukifubo leero baleisula bibiri byabena kitwe ikiri pano nekyakukimwemwe bageza abwera okwisaisula kimbi kipatala ikya cancer, the first cancer hospital ku Copperbelt.
The president was on the Copperbelt province for a 2-day working visit, where he relaunched the Konkora Copper Mine and commissioned Chamboli and Chimwemo Level 1 Hospital. Tovin Ngombe, ZANIS, Kitwe.
In 2019, Konkola Copper Mines KCM was placed under liquidation by the Patriotic Front-led administration, resulting in loss of jobs, run-down assets and the much-needed taxes for the country. The UPND government under President Hakainde Hichilema, since assuming office, labored to resolve matters surrounding KCM. Following the successful negotiations and closure in the matter, President Hakainde Hichilema has officially handed over Konkola Copper Mines PLC to Vendata Resources Limited.
Let's get on with the work now. Tientu Bombe. Our expectation is that we will restore the integrity of this mine. This mine will move towards 300,000 metric tons, so it can contribute towards the 3 million tons of copper, our vision. Mopani should bring in 230,000 metric tons, and others. And we are on the journey towards our vision of 3 million tons. It does not matter who is negative. Where we are now, we are at a point of no return. So investors, Vedanta, KCM, let's work as a team, board.
And with the investment that we have committed into KCM, we'll turn this into one of the world's truly great copper mines. I believe that the renewed support of the leadership of your government and the KCM employees and business partners, this asset will get to the required 300,000 tons of copper per annum that is part of our vision.
Mines Minister Paul Kabuso says the return of KCM will spur economic development.
Vakateka abantu balelandauka, those that were running this country, that they had solutions for KCM. They went into liquidation in 2019. 2020, 2021 mpaka twabafulula olo kuno okuchirira bombwe. Twali bafulula bakateka tatwabangesha nokubangasha. And here we are today, KCM sorted out. I'm
indeed grateful that Chirirabombo was chosen to host this very important event. And I certainly believe that our district will never be the same with regards to development. It is evident that the relaunch of the mine will spur economic benefits to the people of Chirirabombo and Copperbelt at large.
Last month, KCM released $250 million to offset arrears owed to creditors and has since pumped in $1 billion in the company. Under the renewed relationship with government, the mine has pledged to restore KCM into the world's best leading copper producer with a projected 300,000 metric tons of copper production in the next 5 years. Government has an annual target of 3 million metric tons of copper production per year. Kalan Muchima, reporting for ZANIS in Chilabomboy.
All right, quite a busy working visit of the president that we have seen there. Now I'll start with you, Mr. Ngombe. How do you look at the presidential visit to Copperbelt province?
Yeah, the presidential visit by the Republican President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, has been quite fruitful, especially for the people of Copperbelt here. As you can know, Madam Penrop, the President, especially this year, starting from February this year, he has been visiting Copperbelt, and he has launched a number of projects, and also he has launched a number of hospitals and so on, and especially the mining sector. A lot of developments have happened because of his visit to the Copperbelt, which has brought renewed hope. And I'm sure as we go forward, we'll explain the impacts of these visits to the people here on the Copperbelt and also the country at large. As you know, Copperbelt is Copperbelt. Without copper, you can't call it Copperbelt. So with the mines that have been resuscitated, there is some new life here on the Copperbelt, Madam Penrop.
Thank you, Tovin. I like that. Copperbelt is simply Copperbelt. Lizzie, how do you look at the presidential visits to the province? Are they worth it? Are they yielding results?
Well, Penrop, looking at this recent visit for the president, I would say it was really an important visit, a visit that was really long awaited by many stakeholders. As you've already seen in the video, the visit focused on two sectors, the mining sector and the health sector. So basically for the health sector, for me I think it's really cemented the government desire to bring quality health services closer to the people, because as you already saw, the facilities that were actually commissioned, they are modern, ultra-modern facilities. If you look at the services that are being offered, some of those services that are there, you don't find them in the already existing facilities. Like, for example, at Chimwemwe Hospital, under the radiology section, you find services like the CT scan. Penrop, right now in Kitwe, that service is not there at the Kitwe Teaching Hospital, the highest hospital in the district. You don't find that. And people for a long time, they've been going to, or rather being referred to private facilities where they are paying a lot of money. But now we have this facility in a government-owned hospital. So this is a plus, and really government has scored for me. And so far, it's catering for a lot of people that are coming from as far as Southern Province. I saw one case. So it means that this is not just Copperbelt that we are looking at. And under the mining sector, wow, Penrop, really, in my interaction with various stakeholders in the mining sector, for them, this is really a relief. If you talk to the workers or mine union leaders, really, it was hard for them as we waited for the unlocking of these two mines. But now they have answers to the workers, to the suppliers and contractors. That's their mainstay. And really, to them, this gives liquidity to them. And now it means that going forward, they are able to actually do a lot of businesses. They can even be able to borrow money where they don't have, because the lenders now, they have confidence that they are giving money to someone who's viable. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Lizzie. Rightly, like Tovin has put it, we can't call Copperbelt without mentioning the mining sector. Now, two important aspects that the president addressed in his previous visit. We are looking at the health sector as well as the mining sector. I'll hold on a little bit to the health sector. I want us to zero down on who we are. We are a mining province. We are Copperbelt. So I will straight away go into the mining sector. Now, in the previous regime, KCM was put under liquidation. Now we have just witnessed the relaunch of the mine. What does this mean to the ordinary Copperbelt person? Lizzie, what does that mean? KCM was under liquidation in the previous regime. And the relaunch, what does it mean to, especially people in Kitwe? What does it mean?
Wow. Yes, Penrop. It's been a hard situation for the people of Copperbelt and Kitwe in particular. I think I would want to pick on Kitwe, Chingola, and Chiritabombwe. I would want to think these were the most, or rather worst hit. because as I have already mentioned, their life really revolves around the mining sector. So when the mines are not doing well, as had been the case, really it means that people like suppliers, contractors, there are no jobs. So when operations went down, people lost jobs, like those that are employed direct by the mines. Really, we lost some jobs, and then that sent people on the street. For the contractors, they had no businesses. It means that there was no money in circulation. Then, when there are no jobs also, what happens? People are struggling financially. The youths, where do they go? In the end, you end up having high levels of crime, which we experienced on the Copperbelt. But now, with the coming of the mines, we are seeing the contractors. Just a few days ago, the Contractors Association president just confirmed in my interactions, or as we collect news, we get this information where they are confirming that they've been cleared. So it means that there's money now, slowly there's money in circulation, people have money. Then this also extends to, let's say, businesses under the Chamber of Commerce. It means that their products, now they have market, they are on demand. People are able to procure or access or buy the services that are being offered. So it means that we have more money again. And in terms of employment, Penlo, we may not say that we've recorded a lot of jobs so far, but I would comfortably say for Mopani, so far, we have recorded over 400 jobs created. That is excluding those odd ones where they were just replacing. So it means that this is an assurance that you have more jobs created for our youths and several others, which means that the economy will slowly come to its past glory. And apart from that one, even at the national level, Pendop, I think we'll see copper production rising. What this means is that we'll have more exports. As we export, we earn more forex. As we do that, this has an impact also on our currency. It means that our currency will also be gaining. Okay, so that will cushion the difficulties that we're experiencing on our economy.
Thank you very much, Lizzie. Light at the end of the tunnel, as the way you're talking.
Exactly.
Tovin, what does this mean? The relaunch of KCM, what does it mean to the Copperbelt?
It is a wonderful development, and it's exciting not only to the people of Copperbelt, but to the entire country. As you may be aware, Zambia is the second largest producer of copper in Africa. It is second to the Democratic Republic of Congo, and copper mines are the major employers in the country. Anything that disturbs the operations of copper, it means it disturbs a lot of things. And as you may be aware, about 70% of the country's foreign exchange revenues comes from copper. But from the time the KCM was put under liquidation in 2019, as we saw in the video there, a lot of things were disturbed. Workers lost employment, and the country lost revenue because we could not produce enough to sell on the international market and get the necessary foreign exchange that this country requires to run the economic activities of everyone in the country. All those were suspended. And as you may be aware, this, the liquidation of KCM meant that the owners went to court, and the battles have been fought for about 5 years until the new government, the new Don government, came into power and helped to renegotiate, removed the case from the court, and the president himself said, we cannot do the mining into the courts. We have to settle outside so that we start producing. And true to his word and true to the government's words, we saw when he visited that the relaunch has brought renewed hope to the people. And what does that mean again? it will mean that the production of copper is going to increase. And as you saw in the video there, the president and the manager for KCM, they have projected that about 300,000 metric tons are expected to be produced per year. And that is going to add to the country's target of 3 million tons of copper, which they have to be producing in the next 10 years. And that, what does that mean? It means the country will be cashing in terms of getting the foreign exchange, which needs to run this economy. So the relaunch, I'm telling you, it is something that brings excitement in the lives of every Zambian, because copper is the lifeblood of this country.
Thank you very much, Tovin. Well, our dear viewers, if you're just joining us, we are coming to you from the Copperbelt studios in Ndola, and we are analyzing the president's visit to the Copperbelt province. To help me in that analysis, I have with me in the studio Zambia News and Information Services Copperbelt Senior Information Officer Tovin Ngombe, as well as Kitwe District Information Officer Lizzie Ngobeka. Ladies and gentlemen, KCM is not the only mining company that had troubles. You agree with me that Mopani was another company whose owners abandoned, citing the impact of COVID-19 and the reduction in copper prices on the international market. Now, this led to the previous regime taking over the mine. In the past 3 years of the new Dawn administration, Mopani has now been handed over to the new equity partner, who has pumped in money to boost the production of copper. What does this mean to the economy of the Copperbelt province? What does this mean to the economy of our country? What does this mean to Kitwe? Lizzie.
Well, the coming of an equity partner at Mopani is a good thing, and already we are seeing the profits of that. For example, as I've already mentioned, there's job creation going on there. We've seen people getting employed. Others, some jobs that were frozen, people are being replaced there. So it means that we are creating jobs. Other than that, so many companies, or maybe let's say, let me pick on the councils here. So for Kitwe Council, they were owed a lot of money in terms of rates, and already they've been paid. So we've seen that the money that have been paid to the council has been utilized on various services in terms of, for example, maybe clearing of retirees. The council is up to date in terms of clearing retirees, which hasn't been the case in the past years. Other than paying the retirees, the council has been able to buy a lot of equipment. We've seen a lot of equipment, partially from that money, which is going towards garbage collection and other services, and cleaning the township roads, and even patching of maintenance and patching of township roads. We've seen a lot, which has really helped, and I think it's really something that is positive coming from the coming of the equity partner at Mopani. Other than that, I think we've also seen some efforts in terms of corporate social responsibility. At some point, the company had failed to support Nkana Football Club, but now they are back. They are being sponsored. So these are some of the things that we are seeing.
Thank you very much, Lizzie. Good gesture by Mopani there. Mr. Ngombe, what does this mean to the province?
Indeed, this is one of the success stories. And before I even go on what it means, as you are aware, Mopani was taken over by government in 2021 when the owners, the Glencore Corporation, left, citing challenges in that the mine was not profitable, and they cited the COVID-19 as the reason for their living, and government decided to take over. But when government took over the operations of the mine, they could not inject in more money to ensure that they increase production of copper. What was the result was that the production went down, and meaning the production went down, there were not much economic activities. And now it meant we had 2 giant copper mines on the copper belt that were not operating efficiently. The Mopani copper mine and also the Konkora copper mine, which is KCM, 2 of them on the copper belt, meaning copper belt was dead. And now government's decision to negotiate or finding an equity partner in the name of the International Resources Holdings, which is from Abu Dhabi, that is in Saudi Arabia. And it has all taken over shares of about 51% shares in Mopani. And they got those shares, and under the amount that they also injected for them to get those shares, they pumped in $1.1 billion in the operations of Mopani. And it means that the government of the Republic of Zambia has about 49% shares, which is a good deal because those are big shares. Whatever profit the company will be making, the government will also have a huge share. Unlike in other miners, like where they own very few percentage, like 20% shares. But this one, Mopani, 49%, meaning the more they increase on the production, the more government also benefit. And the government also, because of the percentage of the share, they have a good say. They have a voice in the operations of the mine. And that is good for the economy, and that is good for the country. As you may be aware about this deal was clinched in December 2023. And, but the acquisition of the operation of the mine was completed in this year in March. And where the president also went in Quito there, he launched it. And the company, the projections are that they will be producing about 225,000 metric tons of copper per annum, because with the investment which the new equity partner has put in place. That it means more jobs, more money in circulation, and the person who sells in the market, they'll be finding buyers to sell their produce and goods. And as my colleague says, the mine suppliers, they'll be having money because the operations of the mines are running well. As you may be aware, in 2022, the company only produced about 72,694 metric tons of copper. But now they are projecting to produce 225,000 metric tons per annum. That's a huge development, and that's good for the company. And by the way, the 2 companies, Mopani Copper Mine and also Konkora Copper Mine, the 2 of them combined, their projection is that they will be able to produce about 550,000 metric tons of copper, which they will be adding to the national production. And that means a lot. Of course, at the moment, people are not feeling that because every ordinary person, they live on the daily production of what they produce. And when they go to the market, they're not saying, because these are plants that have been laid now. The ground, I can say, is fertile for better things to come. And of course, for the ordinary person, they cannot see this because what they require is something that is immediate for them to benefit and something that can benefit them immediately. But these are good indicators for the better things to come for this country, especially in terms of copper production.
And in addition, this increased production of copper we are seeing, I think it will help us to actually benefit from the current high copper prices on the international market. I think for some time we've lost out because of this reduced production. But now with the expected increase in the production, it means that we'll really take advantage of the high prices who do benefit.
That is a very good observation. With increased copper prices on the international market, what our country can do is to take advantage of that and produce as much as we can so that we tap into that. Now, Tovin, you talked of increased production, which will definitely call for more job creation. So I'm thinking, what does that mean for the young person on the Copperbelt province? How can they tap into that? I know government has employed over 30,000 in the teaching fraternity. They have employed other youths in the health sector, but still, there are still some youths that are out there and they don't have jobs. And you're just talking of job creation in the mining sector. How should our youths position themselves? What should a young person on the Copperbelt province and really in the country at large, what should they do to tap into that?
Well, Penelope, this is a huge opportunity for the young ones, for the youths. This is the best time now to invest for them now to apply for skills in this trade institution like NOTEC and the other trade institution within the districts. And I just attended one of the meeting at the Lev Mwanawasa, that's about 5 months ago, where the mine suppliers and also the people involved in the mining came and started analyzing the future development in the mining activity. Actually, they are projecting that what these colleges are channeling into society, the numbers they are channeling won't be enough. At one time, maybe the country may even start importing labor from other countries, because for the country to attain that 3 million metric tons of copper in the next 10 years, it means they would require a lot of skills. And of course, we have seen a lot of young ones being sponsored using CDF in colleges and in skills development, and Teveta is doing quite a lot to sponsor young ones to acquire skills. And this is the opportunity for every young person to ensure that they acquire these skills, because the mines will require a lot of artisans, people who have done crafts, electricians, metal fabrication, and also people who have done these mechanics, heavy-duty motor repairs. All these skills will be required in the mines. And for the country to produce those metric tons, they would require more investment, they require more youths. And this is an opportunity for them, and this is the time for the young ones now to ensure that they invest into skills development so that they get the necessary qualifications for them to have an opportunity to be employed in the mines.
And in addition, Penelope, on several occasions the President has talked about, or rather appealed to youths not to always looking for employment, being employed. He's really on several occasions challenged the youth to look at being employers also. So in this line, they can also form associations, because they may not have enough capital for them to go into businesses. So they can form associations, then they apply for empowerment funds and become suppliers and contractors in these same mines that are being unlocked. So that will help to create employment for themselves and also to employ others. Other than that, they can also still form cooperatives and apply for mining companies. For mining licenses, so that they can also go into mining. They can do mining at a small scale level.
Great opportunities out there for our youths. They just have to think outside the box.
Indeed.
3 million tons within the next 10 years. Government has projected a copper production target of 3 million tons, which you earlier alluded to, within the next 10 years. Ladies and gentlemen, is this achievable?
It is. With the ground that has been laid already, and as you may be aware, Copperbelt is not only mining province. We have the newcomer, which is which is Northwestern Province. And by the way, Northwestern Province have already overtaken Copperbelt in terms of the production of mining. We have Karumbira there. We have the first Quantum there. And we have the Mwana mine. 3 big mines there. And there the biggest mine there is Karumbira mine, or which they call Sentinel mine. So these mines have also, especially for the past 3 years, this government has been in power. These mines have pledged to inject in more money into boosting the production of copper. And the only problem which we had was Copperbelt, because KCM is one of the largest, was one of the largest mine, and which was under Mopani. And with Mopani coming on board, KCM coming on board, and we also have Shaft 28, which has come on board. It means that 3 million tons within 10 years, it is attainable. And why is it attainable? The copper price on the international market, especially actually 5 years ago, in fact 5 years ago, experts projected that the copper prices will be always now increasing with this demand for electric car batteries on the international market. And each country is yearning to go green. China is taking lead, the Europe, USA, they all are going towards green economy where they will be manufacturing electric car batteries. Apart from the traditional use of copper, there is now electric car battery, which means now there will be a huge appetite for copper. What does that mean? It means the copper price will be going up. Just in August this year, in 2024, the average monthly price for copper at the international market stood at $9,490,000 per ton. At the same time, last year, in August, the price on the international market was 8,768 kwacha per metric ton. Look, the graph has been going up. And the problem with Zambia was that all these larger mines, actually even Northwestern, the bigger mines like Karumbira, First Quantum, and also, they also even scaled down. They reduced their production. With KCM, it was dead. They were fighting in courts. There was no production. With Mopani, government grabbed the mine, not even really grabbed, they bought off their mine so they can start running it. There was no injection into the production. It was static. The prices of copper were going up. We are not actually benefiting from the high prices on the international market.
So what must we do? What must we do as a country to ensure, what steps must we take as a country to ensure that we attain this target?
The steps that has already been made is the same measures that government has already put in place. The operationalizing of KCM and Mopani. The promises by these other mines like Karumbila, First Quantum, and also Mwana mine, they have promised to injecting. Once all that is actualized, we are going to attain that. Again, Penrop, what it means also is that because the country was not able to tap into the high prices of copper because we're not producing less, and we depend on copper, as I said earlier, that 70% of the economy depends on copper. Meaning, we were not tapping in copper. What does that entail on our kwacha? We have a bleeding kwacha. The exchange rate, it has been going up because we are not earning enough dollars to cushion the exchange rate of our kwacha. Today, our kwacha is ranging between buying about 25 and also selling at 26. Why? Because we were not producing much. Now, with these indicators, watch the space. I'm not a diviner, but watch the space. With these measures, we are expected in a few years from now, the kwacha to start regaining its strength, especially in a few years from now. It may not be now, but you come and analyze that. That's what you said. It's working now, especially if all things are equal.
I like the optimism.
Maybe in addition to what he has said, you are talking about the steps that we need to put for us to attain the targeted rate, or rather figure, in terms of copper production. I think government has already started. For us to attain that, we also need good policies, good and predictable policies in the mining sector that are going to attract investors, because there's no investor who would want to invest in an economy which is unpredictable. So I think on this one, government has already done its background work. And apart from that one, we need to go further by trying to invite, or rather to convince investors to come into our economy. And so far, I think the president has been the champion on that one. He's been, as others would say, he's been the chief marketing officer for the nation. And I think he's done his work. And apart from that one, we have the Zambia Development Agency also. I think it has also done a tremendous job in terms of attracting investors. And they have posted a lot of promises, yeah. And even physically, I think we have seen newcomers in the mining sector. An example is the cobalt metals in Chirirabombwe. I think that one also is a positive step towards the achievement of the 3 million tons that government has set.
Looks like there's light at the end of the tunnel. Now, Copperbelt province, when we talk of the mines, we're not just looking at Chirirabombwe, we're not just looking at Kitwe and Chingola. We are also looking at Luansha. Lizzie, Shaft 28, that is another mine. That is another mine that government has unlocked, and at this stage, the Chinese company is pumping out water, from that shaft. What does this entail for Copperbelt province in terms of the mining sector?
Well, as you've already said, PNOP, I think, is all about more jobs. Increased copper production, more business for contractors and suppliers. And as they do that, I think we also expect to see improvement in terms of infrastructure development. Because as they come, I do remember hearing the president challenging the investors also to ensure that they put up quality infrastructure as they're investing, as they're doing their business. So I think we also expect to see some facelift in our towns in terms of infrastructure.
Okay, Tovin, Shaft 28. The investor is, the Chinese company is now pumping out water. What does this mean?
It is a welcome development and cheering for the people of Russia. You know, Russia at one time it was considered a ghost town because almost all economic activities stagnated because of the non-operations of the mines, which was the major employer in that town. And as you may be aware, Shaft 28 has been down for the past 23 years. And no investor was interested to invest into it and to pump that water which is underground. But now with the coming of the Chinese copper mine, or in Russia there, so now they are pumping out that water and they are spending in about $5 million has been pumped in the operations of Shaft 28. And also the projections are that about 3,000 jobs will be created and about 1,800 direct jobs shall be also be created. And that's massive, meaning there will be economic activities in that town, Russia, which has been in, I can say, in economic distress for many years. And Shaft 28, once it comes on board, it is also going to boost the copper production. And that means increment in the production of copper, in the projection of governments, government's projection of about 3 million. It will add to that. And that means economic development. And that means it will also create other jobs. That marketeer also in Ranch wholesale, they will be able to have people to buy their goods. The shops in Russia, there will be money in circulation, and that is good for the economy as well, and especially for the entire copper belt. That is a welcome development indeed.
Thank you, Tovin. I know you have a soft spot for sports. With the relaunching of these mines, the revamping of activity on the mines on the Copperbelt province, what does this mean for our league, our football league?
Indeed, and you see, I can say for the past 7 years, Copperbelt leagues have not been doing well, apart from maybe Zesco United. The league shifted to Lusaka. That's where the leagues have been doing well, because the mines stopped sponsoring. As my colleague Liz said, Mopani, there was no sponsorship in Nkana. And that entails, and Nkana is the team which has the highest number of soccer fans within the country. And it has been struggling, especially last year. It almost went into relegation into Division 1. But they managed to survive, and now Mopani is sponsoring them. You will see that there will be some development. We had teams like Nchanga Rangers. They went under because KCM went under. There was no sponsorship. We had teams like Chambishi. They went under because there was no sponsorship. Teams like Rush Modern Stars, they went under because those were teams which were thriving. Of course, we had the Mufurira Wanderers. They have been struggling because Mopani was also struggling. Now with the coming of Mopani, we expect better days, especially for the soccer lovers on the Copper Belt. We expect the teams to do well and to bring back the lost glory, especially for Maite, which was once considered Maite when they are playing. So this time, with the coming of those mines, we are going to see a lot of activities, especially
that is one Tovin with a bias towards Mighty Mufurira Wanderers. Thank you very much, Tovin. So definitely we are going to see an improvement on our league.
Of course, I forget one team, Konkora Blades in Chirawombo as well. They are even in Division 1 because they had no sponsorship. KCM went under. So when they are coming, we'll see also the people of Chirawombo enjoying their soccer that side as well.
Interesting, interesting. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have delved so much into the mining sector. The president, during his last visit, did also have programs in the health sector. As earlier mentioned, the presidential visit saw the commissioning of 3 hospitals, and that was Chimwemwe, Chamboli, and Chidilabombo District Hospital. What does this mean to the local Copperbelt person? What does it mean to a mother in Kitwe? What does this mean, the commissioning of these 3 hospitals?
Okay, I think as mentioned earlier, Penrop, these are ultra-modern hospitals with all the facilities that you need, I think. So the commissioning of those hospitals is really something to talk about, something that you should be proud of. Government has really scored because, as I mentioned earlier again, there are a lot of facilities that are being offered by these 2 hospitals. And then even the number of people that are being catered is quite large. Like, for example, for Chimwemwe Level 1 Hospital alone is catering over 400,000 people in Kitwe. So when you talk about over 400,000 people, that's a large number. You would ask yourself to say, so before this, where were they going? What kind of facilities were they getting? And talk about the congestion that was there. Taking, for instance, at Kitwe Teaching Hospital, which is supposed to be a referral hospital. but then it wasn't working as such because of lack of those facilities. But now, the commissioning of those 2 hospitals means that a lot of people will easily access health facilities, not only basic health facilities, but specialized facilities. And to a mother in Chamboli, as you've mentioned, if you look at the maternity annex that has been unveiled there, well, I think it would encourage people to go to deliver from there. Even those that have a tendency of maybe wanting to deliver from home, I think they'll be motivated. For me, I think the only thing that could be remaining is to increase on the number of workers now. But I'm hopeful that more health workers will be recruited and those hospitals will be considered. Yeah.
Tobin, government's desire is to bring health services as closer as possible to the people. With the commissioning of these 3 hospitals, are we in the right direction in achieving that?
Indeed, Penrop. One of the hospitals, actually also Chirawombwe District Hospital, which the president launched, it was the first hospital to be launched. It was side by side when we were launching KCM, also went to launch the Chirawombwe District Hospital. And in our line of duty with interaction with the district medical health team from there, actually this is a huge relief for the people of Chirawombwe. For a long time they have never had a district hospital. Actually since independence, they were relying on Kakoso, which is just like a small, which was a clinic and just upgraded to be a hospital, and it has a limited number of bed capacities for the population of Chirawombwe. And what that meant was that it means that most of the cases, critical cases, were being referred to Chingola at Nchanga Hospital. So the mothers were traveling from Chirawombwe to Chingola to access medical facilities or better health services, because the Chirawombwe, being a town for many years since independence, since the mines were set up, they had no district hospital. Now with the coming of the district hospital means people will now be accessing health services closer to their homes, and that is in line with the government's vision under the Ministry of Health, that each person should access medication closer to their home. And that hospital entails that more people will be now accessing medication closer to them, to their homes. And even those people who were unable to afford to travel to Chingola and maybe even come to Kitwe, they will be now accessing medication closer to their homes. What does it mean? What does that mean? It means people will be able to save the money they used to spend on transport just to go to the next clinic. And also, the president as well launched the Chifu Level 1 hospital in Ndola, which is in Kawama here in Ndola. And people in Kawama, and that's a huge population as well, they used to all come and flood in Ndola Teaching Hospital. As Liz has said, just as the people in Chimwemwe and Chamboli, instead of Kitwe Teaching Hospital being a referral hospital, it was attending to everyone, and that was the same scenario with Ndola Teaching Hospital. Instead of attending to critical conditions, all the people from Kawama, they were flocking to Kitwe and congesting and making even the workers become inefficient, because when there are too many people, you become inefficient. And that, what does that mean? It will mean the health officers, they will be efficient in attending to a few people that they can manage within a specified, and mean they can even have attention to attend to the people. And that's what the launching of those hospitals means. And also, during the launch, as you saw in the video which we showed earlier, the president himself promised that all those workers who are volunteering, they will be employing them. Actually mentioned, we will be employing them one by one until they are cleared. What does that mean? It means now the people, when they go to the hospital, they will be finding motivated health workers because government has employed them, and that's an assurance. And maybe just a concern in the, during the launch as well, the Minister for Health, Dr. Elijah Muchima, also raised concern on the pilferage of drugs. Government is doing its best to provide medication, medicines and drugs in the hospitals, but there are some people, ungrateful people, who are pilfering those drugs and creating an artificial shortage at times in the hospitals. Of course, the minister promised that they will deal with that, and we just hope they will do that, so at least we have a proper working health system.
And ultimately, maybe let me come in on that one. The commissioning of those hospitals, for me, I think it looks like a calculated move towards economic development, because when you have health facilities like that, people are able to access health services. It means that you are going to have a health population. So as they are unlocking the mines, you also have a health population, meaning that you have people that are healthy, that are going to work, and ultimately, that increases your production.
Great. Now, just there, Lizzie, Tovin has just mentioned of pilfering of drugs. That speaks to the mindset of workers, the mindset of the ordinary citizen. What should be done? That is one negative aspect that we have identified at early stage. So what should be done to curtail that? What must be done?
Well, I think for me, as you are talking about mindset, to start with, the health workers, I expect people that work in the health sector to be people that are committed, people that are really there to offer a service. Because when you start stealing or getting drugs from the hospitals, you want to sell out. Then, and patients come, when they come, there's no medicine. Then what are you doing? It means that you're not working. Then, how do we improve health services like that? We don't need such workers, honestly, and this really calls for a serious mindset, change of mindset, where people should be committed to providing a service. Let it be their desire to ensure that when people come for treatment, for health services, they are able to be attended to. Yeah. So apart from that one, I think even on the part of government, I think we need to strengthen the law so that those that are caught, the culprits, they really face the wrath of the law, so that you deter would-be offenders. Otherwise, if we don't do that, I think all the efforts would be in vain. We'll get back to a situation where people would go to hospitals, they're attended to, but in the end, they're not given any drugs, they're just given prescriptions. Then it defeats the purpose of all the efforts that are being put. So I think government also needs to move on.
Great.
And maybe just on that as well, on the pilferage of the of drugs in hospitals. And people should know that when you pilfer some drugs, okay, pilfering, I'm even becoming, when you steal some drugs in the hospitals, it means you are killing the patient.
Exactly.
Because the patient will go to the hospital, will find no medication. And maybe the doctor will prescribe medication to buy. The patient will have no money. And what does that mean? That patient will die. So we need to have a health profession that protects the patient and that has an interest on the patient. We are just like the minister said, that you follow up, ensure they follow up, and we ensure that our health professionals, it's not everyone in any way, just a few ungrateful people that have such a behavior of pilfering drugs in the hospital. And that if it continues, it means we are killing the patient, and it defeats the purpose of people seeking for health services in hospitals. And we ensure that the minister will address that issue to ensure that our people, whenever they go to the hospital, they access drugs.
Exactly, Tovin, talking of change of mindset by both health professionals and just the ordinary citizens. Now, We have seen Chidilabombo District Hospital, we have seen Chifubu Level 1 here in Ndola, we have seen Chamboli Level 1, we have also seen Chimwemwe. Is this adequate? Can we safely say, okay, fine, on the Copperbelt, this is adequate for us? What are you saying?
Well, the population is increasing, and there should also be plans for other, and as we saw during the visit for the president, actually, the president is also coming back. According to the Minister of Copperbelt, Mr. Elisha Matambo, he promised that the president is also coming to launch some more level 1 hospitals. I think he mentioned of Mfulira and other places. So it's not the end in itself. The offering of health services will continue. And as long as we have a population which is increasing, it will mean the demand for health services will continue. And the government, it's the duty of the government to ensure that they continue also even actually identifying other districts so that at least everyone accesses the medication or health services closer to their homes.
I think even government is aware that what we have is not enough. We may say, okay, yes, we have commissioned this, but it is very much aware that we still need more as our populations continue to grow. This is demonstrated in the number of health facilities that are still under construction, and also those others that are also under consideration that are being built using CDF. Yeah, government has been urging people also to actually prioritize health facilities as they pick projects under CDF. So I think we continue on the same projection.
And also just on CDF, and even during the president's visit, talked of the operations of the maternity annexes, whereby the government's policy that they should not see a mother dying because of failing to access better delivery services. And through CDF, especially throughout all the district or the towns on the Copperbelt, CDF is doing wonders. A lot of maternity annexes have been constructed, and that means a mother who used to travel long distances will be now able to find facilities closer to their homes. And I think I had one time in my tour of duty, we visited Chirawombwe. There is actually a maternity annex just towards, as we are going to Kasumbalesa, there's a maternity annex which has been built and mothers are able to access. And previously, others would even die on the way as they are going to deliver. Now because the maternity annex has been built closer to their homes, they are now able to access them. And that's the beauty of having these maternity accesses, because it will be is helping a lot of mothers.
Clearly, Tovin and Lizzie, the presidential visit to the Copperbelt province has been beneficial from our discussion. At least it's pointing us in the right direction. We can safely say there's light at the end of the tunnel. What are your concluding remarks looking at the presidential visits to the province?
Yeah, my concluding remarks are that given the policies or the resumption of mines, if all things being equal, what I mean is all things being equal, if nothing disturbs the plans that have been put in place, or maybe owing to external factors or other factors that can disturb, this country is on the right path to economic recovery. Right now we are in a recession where we are not doing bad, but we are on the right path to economic recovery to ensure that the kwacha, the exchange rate, the businesses are revamped. Because as you are aware, Copperbelt and Northwestern right now, they are the engines for this economic development for this country, because they are the ones that produce copper, which offers 70% of the country's foreign earnings. So with the resumptions of the mines, Zambians should now hope for a better future for their children, for themselves, for all the businesses, to ensure that this country is developed.
Thank you, Lizzie.
I think, as my colleague has already highlighted, I think government is really on the right path. It has, for Copperbelt, I think it has really touched the most important sectors. like the mining sector and the health sector. I think you need that as you move on to economic development. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Our government has put good policies. It has walked the talk. It has unlocked the mines that were dormant for quite some time. Everyone is smiling. So I think would just advise government to continue on the same track with good policies, and also maybe if people can also be patient enough and give government time to implement all the policies that it has put in place. And with all that, I'm positive that Zambia will regain its past glories, especially on the Copperbelt. Thank you.
Thank you, Lizzie. Well, our dear viewers, on the lens today, we have been analyzing President Hakainde Hichilema's visit to the Copperbelt province, where he relaunched Konkola copper mines in Chililawombwe, and he also commissioned Chililawombwe District Hospital, Chamboli Level 1, as well as Chimwemwe Hospital in Kitwe. On my panel, I had Kitwe District's Information Officer, Lizzie Ngoveka, and Zambia News and Information Services Copperbelt Senior Information Officer, Tovini Ngombe. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we call it a day. Thank you for coming to The Lens.
Thank you.